Hello everybody, welcome to the first news update of 2009. This episode was recorded on January 1st. In this episode, I'll be covering the rumored Android handset from Samsung, the I Am Linux contest from the Linux Foundation, and ATI releasing the source code for their video driver for the Linux desktop. So let's do the news. We've all known that we're going to be seeing future Android devices from other manufacturers, but we haven't known the timeline. There's been some recent developments in the Samsung camp that have suggested that we might see something pretty soon. Samsung has recently added 30 experts on Linux and Java to their mobile communications development team. That right there is a pretty strong indicator. Additionally, when you consider the fact that Samsung was one of the original founders of the Open Handset Alliance that Google founded to back the Android platform. On top of that, some new information has leaked out from the Korean manufacturer that they could be looking for a second quarter 2009 release of an Android-based phone. On top of that, what's better is it will be available, according to the rumor, for T-Mobile, but also for the Sprint PCS network, which is a big deal because that is a CDMA network. So if you're currently a Verizon customer in the United States or a Sprint customer, you could very potentially be getting an Android phone sooner than later. Currently, the G1 is locked to T-Mobile, and T-Mobile is a GSM network, a completely different cellular technology than Sprint's. Sprint uses the similar technology to Verizon, so if we get a Verizon or Samsung phone, pretty good chances they can be run on either network. So this is really interesting news coming out of Samsung. We could be seeing a new Android phone in 2009. Plus, Samsung is known for developing some pretty slick hardware, so that's something definitely to look forward to. To compete with the Apple ads and the Microsoft ads, the Linux Foundation has announced the I'm Linux video contest, and this is their way to crowdsource a good commercial. They can avoid the production costs of a commercial by crowdsourcing the best from the community. And it kind of fits. Linux is a community effort. It makes sense that our advertising and our marketing would be a community effort. So I like the idea. Does it bother me that it's potentially a copy of something that's already been done and then something that's already been copied? No, not necessarily, and the reason for that is because they're encouraging people to just explain how they use Linux, not to necessarily make a parody of the existing commercial, or even to make mention of the existing commercial if you don't want. You could make a parody, maybe that would be a very big hit, who's to say. But some of the key essentials about the commercial is the winner. It's going to be picked from a panel of judges, and the winner will get airfare and hotel to the Linux Foundation Japan Symposium in October of 2009. So that's definitely a decent prize. Plus, that's not very cheap. And on top of things, that's probably something you're interested in if you are doing an I'm Linux commercial. A few bits of information you need to know if you're going to get involved with this is you must be 18 years or older, and the commercial needs to be 60 seconds or less. It can't be very long because if they do ever air it on TV or they just want to keep people's attention span, they got to keep it succinct. You can submit multiple videos, so if you want to try different things, you can definitely do that. There's no restrictions, and the contest opens January 26th, which is my birthday, and will close the March 15th. So you'll have a couple of weeks where you can submit, so you can get ready now, and then you can submit it on January 26th. Maybe you also just say happy birthday to me in your video, and then they'll just have to pick one video that says happy birthday to me. It seems like a pretty good plan to me. So the criteria will be clarity of message, how much it inspires others to use Linux. The judge will also take into account community votes, so there'll be essentially like a dig-like feature. How many unique entries you make does not really reflect, so you have to consider the fact that what I mean by that is if you submit 3 videos and only one of them gets dug, your other videos don't get drug up by that. They also have to be individually dug up. I'm just using that term just for voting. Communities and companies can have their own entry. So Canonical could put in I Am a Linux video, but they can only have one if they're a company. You can't have Canonical entering multiple videos, I guess. I don't really quite understand, but that's what I'm told if you're a company. The entrance is free, of course, and you just submit there. You just have to meet those basic criteria, and then you can explain why you're Linux. And then maybe if you're super famous and awesome, you'll end up on TV or at least some websites, and you get to go to Japan for free. That's not bad, unless you're already in Japan, in which case, probably not the best deal, but still may be kind of fun. So I think overall it's a pretty good idea. It's a great way to crowdsource the ads that you need. It's a great way to avoid paying the production costs, especially if you can get somebody that has some decent video equipment, some decent audio equipment, and has a good message that's gonna work. And we already know that this ad format, at least it seems to be that this ad format works really well for Apple, and now Microsoft is copying, and they're spending, for example, Microsoft is spending $300 million to copy Apple's ad campaign. $300 million. Well, there's no way the Linux Foundation could spend that. I mean, it'd be ridiculous. So this is a great way to do it, and I think it could be a lot of fun for some people. And if you do submit a video, you have to let me know. Chris@JupiterBroadcasting.com, or send me a message at twitter.com/ChrisLAS so I can check it out, and if it's cool, I'll definitely include a clip in one of our future videos. So even if you don't win, you could always end up in one of our videos. That'd be kind of neat. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I've been talking about AMD/ATI releasing source code for years now. Probably hasn't been that long, but that's what it feels like. Okay, so this is actually a bigger step, because this, you got to figure, this is a multifaceted release. They have code out for the older cards, and now we've got open source code and drivers, code, test programs, drivers, documentation, documentation's coming, for the latest ATI cards. I'm talking like the Radeon HD 4000 series and up. Those are recent stuff, and it's great because we've got actual 3D accelerated ability driver code now. On top of that, ATI, AMD, ATI, whatever you want to call them, I'm just going to refer to them as ATI. ATI is going to release a demo program that programmers can use that feeds commands to the hardware, so developers can learn how to communicate properly using the ATI sponsored methods, which always, of course, leads to stability, and when updates come, that doesn't mean your programs break and things like that. So that's very cool. On top of that, ATI will be releasing sanitized documentation for the new ATI GPUs in the coming weeks. I don't know what sanitized documentation means. Maybe it just means they've taken out things that have copyright or have IP for other companies and things like that. But it seems a little strange. I don't quite know. But with this new code that they've released, we've got working 2D acceleration and working 3D acceleration for all the newer cards, as well as basic X-Video support, which is important because X-Video is how you get a lot of your external devices and things like that to work properly. So we're talking projectors, external monitors, multiple monitors. Maybe you want 4 monitors. I personally would like 6 monitors, and until we get some good ATI or NVIDIA source code so the X developers can build that in and work properly with X, we're not going to see it. So this is a huge step in that direction, and it's very cool to see. I'm going to link to this story, Fronux, or however you pronounce it, Fronux. They have a great write-up on it. It'll be, if you're at youtube.com, it'll be in the sidebar, and if you're at jupiterbroadcasting.com, it'll be in the show notes. So check that out, because it's a pretty interesting development. We're going to start seeing, I think, at least I hope, we're going to start seeing companies not only compete on the merit of their hardware, like NVIDIA and ATI, but now we're going to see them compete on the merit of how they're supporting open source operating systems, because that becomes, as a consumer, one of your choices. Do I want to buy the one that has good hardware and great driver support for my operating system of choice, or do I want to buy the one that has good hardware but the driver isn't so good and I'm going to have to fight with that all the time? And then it comes into question, well, what's my time worth? And I think ATI and NVIDIA are really seriously starting to take that into consideration now, and we're going to see a new kind of competition between these two companies, and that's great for us. Alright, so that just about wraps up this news update for January 1. A couple of quick notes. I just recently got a snowball. That's what I'm doing this news update. I mean, not a snowball, but the microphone. The blue snowball. And because I know a lot of the people watching the video hated the big microphone that I had, and so this is a snowball mic that I'm having. I have it sitting on my desk, and it's just out of the camera frame. But hopefully, the audio people still have pretty good audio quality. I know a lot of you do some form of podcasting, or maybe are podcasters, and you're interested in the different mics that I have and things like that. If you would like me to do a mic comparison roundup with the snowball mic, the PR40, and the MXL 990s, which is the old traditional mics that we use, leave me a comment at this video at youtube.com/JupiterBroadcasting, and just say, yeah, I'd be interested in a mic review, because I know a lot of you might be. A lot of you are into audio stuff, so something to consider. Coming up, future reviews, probably in-depth looks, are going to be the Slingbox HD Pro. There's a lot of movement there. I'm going to be trying out a Slingbox and talking to you about how you can kick media around your network There's a lot more options than I think a lot of you think of Slingbox. I think a lot of you are probably thinking Slingbox is just to play back videos on your computer or your cell phone, and I've got some interesting information for you that should change your mind. The other thing that I am working on that might be coming out next week, depending on how schedules line up, is I'm going to document and record the installation process of Linux on the PS3. And then I'm going to see how usable it is as maybe a desktop or a home server or a media center. Is Linux on the PS3 practical? Is it just a toy, or is it actually something you can use? So I'm going to try that. I don't know how long this is going to take me to do, so it might not be next week. We'll see. Maybe I can hammer out most of it this weekend and I'll have the video out next week. But if you'd like to follow what I'm doing, check me out at twitter.com/ChrisLAS. Always check out JupiterBroadcasting.com. That's where we post all our different shows, some of which are just audio, some of which include video. And then, of course, to get the videos as they are released, youtube.com/JupiterBroadcasting, and subscribe there. Maybe even leave a comment and rate. I always appreciate that. Thanks so much for watching this episode of News Update, and in the meantime, keep it geeky and let me know what you're up to.